Hello YouTubers, I hope you enjoyed the last video, the walk in the woods with the bike, and I also hope you've decided to buy a bicycle. If you have, watch what's coming next. My name's Gary, welcome to One by Bikes. Well, I'm just ready to go for a bike ride. Why don't you tag along and we can talk about bikes?
Okay, YouTubists, let's talk bikes. Now, as I said before, in order to go mountain biking, don't really need the latest and the greatest, the biggest, fanciest bike out there. If you can afford to, go and buy the latest and greatest mountain bike out there and turn this video off now, because my advice will be of no good to you. However, if you don't have the money of Bill Gates or anyone else rich, Elon Musk, then cost and value for money should be top of your list. Certainly top of my list when I went to buy. Now, I'll give you a for example. Before I bought, I had a look at the marketplace and I found a Specialized stump jumper alloy, and it was, how much was it? Oh my good golly gosh. Do you know, I'm going to say it was 2,600 euros. And I thought, yeah, that looks like the bike for me. And then all of a sudden prices went up, and they raised the price from 2,600 euros up to 3,000 euros. Didn't change the bike, just put the price up. And I thought, no, I'm not paying that. Okay. So what once was 2,600 went up to 3,000, and I thought, right, well, if that's where the bar is, let's have a look around the 3,000. So I did. Now, has to be said that I already had a mountain bike, a hardtail, Cannondale F600, and I wanted a 29-inch wheel, full suspended bike. The reason I wanted full suspended was because I had an idea of what I wanted to do. I wasn't going to be satisfied with just cross-country cycling. I wanted to get out there and hit drops and jumps and those sorts of things. And I thought, yeah, I can do that on a hardtail, but it would be a lot more comfortable on a fully suspended bike. Now, having said that, if you're a beginner to mountain biking, if you've never bought a mountain bike before, then I would strongly suggest that you buy a hardtail for a couple of reasons. One, the cheaper, way cheaper. Try 1,000 euros cheaper. So if, for example, an alloy hardtail is going to cost about 1,500 euros, then the equivalent full suspension bike is going to cost about 2,500 euros. Point number 2, full suspension bikes, more complicated, therefore more difficult to service. Now if you're going to do your own servicing, you just learn how to do it. If you're going to take your bike into a shop to get it serviced, it's going to cost you more. There is also a third point. If you're already very comfortable on a bicycle, you don't need to bother. You just go out and get whatever you want. If what you're used to with regards to cycling is pretty much what I'm doing now, cycling along on flat ground, and that's all you've done all your life, then a hardtail, that is to say a bike with the suspension fork at the front and nothing at the back, no suspension at the back, a hardtail is the bike for you. Reason being, on a hardtail, on a hardtail you get away with nothing. So all your little mistakes that you make in a hardtail, the hardtail's going to turn around and say to you, you made a mistake there, and you're going to feel uncomfortable, and then hopefully you'll learn from your mistakes. Now everyone who has a background in BMXing will have a head start because they know pretty much how the bike behaves underneath them. And there's another distinction. You're not on top of the bike is underneath you. You weigh significantly more than the bicycle, therefore you drag the bike, not the other way around. Right, quick turn in the road. So yeah, I would recommend going for a hardtail. Now, there are two types of hardtails. There are kind of department store, what I would class as leisure bicycles, and then there are proper mountain bikes. Now by all means you will save a ton of money if you buy a department store bicycle. However, the experience will not be a good one, because these bicycles are not designed to go off-roading. They're more designed to look like a mountain bike and to serve people who want to ride something that looks like a mountain bike but don't actually want to do any mountain biking. I suppose the equivalent in the car world are all of these SUVs, like that one there, that Kia. If you took that off-road, it would get stuck in 5 minutes flat. Whereas, oh come on, yeah, even that thing there, that Mercedes, will get stuck. But you take something like a Toyota Land Cruiser off-road, and that will happily cross the Sahara, no trouble at all. So that really is the difference between a department store and a proper purpose-built mountain bike. You pay more for the proper mountain bike because the bits on the proper mountain bike are designed to go off-road. They have to be both strong and lightweight. So you go out, you buy a reasonable bicycle, you get better, and then you say, hey, I want to upgrade the parts on this bike. I was talking to a colleague earlier this morning, and we just got our yearly bonus, and he said to me, Gary, what are you going to spend your Christmas bonus on? And I said to him, Chris, this is going to come as a total shock to you, but I'm going to spend my Christmas bonus on bits for my bike. Chris is also a cyclist, but he's a roadie. He's got a pretty nice, sorry, I shouldn't say nice, I should say he's got a pretty swish Cervello carbon fiber, but I'm kind of edging him towards getting into mountain biking. Chris, you're watching, you know what to do. So, you buy a bike, and at some point down the line, you're going to want to upgrade bits on it. Herein lies the problem. What you're going to need, I think the most important thing when you buy a mountain bike is the suspension on it. Everything else you can kind of work around. The suspension you can't. So if you buy a bike that doesn't have a tapered head tube on the fork, you'll be very, very limited as to what you can upgrade it to. So, example, the kids' bikes, we bought them those Marlin 6s or 7s? I think Marlin 7s, I'm not sure. Tell you what, I'll go when I get home, I'll have a look, but not that it matters whether it's a 6 or a 7. What does matter is that they don't have a tapered head tube, so they are limited. The fork that they've got on the bike just now is an oil fork, not a gas fork. A gas fork, you can increase and decrease the pressure in the fork to suit your riding style and the weight of the rider. Very important, that. Then there are other things to be taken into consideration. One of them is a dropper post. Dropper posts are expensive. If you buy a bike without a dropper post and you then want to upgrade to a dropper post, you're looking at least 150 euros for the post, and then about 50 euros for this thing here, there, the remote for it. Very few sell them as a packet because it's one of those preference things. Some people like a certain type. I just picked one and it kind of works for me. But a dropper post, you can always fit to a bike afterwards if it's got internal cable routing. That's very important. Otherwise you're stuck with an externally routed dropper post, which will work just as well, but won't look as good. Then you got things like through axles. Now, through axles are bigger, stronger, easier to use, easier to maintain than your traditional quick release skewers that you get for most bikes, I guess. Through axle allows you to upgrade your wheels. Now, if the frame and fork that you've bought are not boost and don't allow through axles, then that's pretty much it. You are limited to the hubs that come with the bicycle. I mean, it's not that important, I guess. You can always keep your hubs, keep your quick release skewers, and upgrade the rims to even carbon fiber if you wanted to. So that's, I mean, I guess that's about it. There are a load of things. I mean, the bike that I bought, paid for 29th of December last year, right after Christmas. Just like, no, I'm buying it now. Paid for it and got it about 4.5 months later. God, that was a wait. But it was just after Christmas, and it cost me, including delivery, an amount. And I picked absolute poverty spec. I upgraded nothing, basically because I couldn't afford to. But then the good thing with that is you buy a bike and you love it, and you love it so much that you want to buy cool things for it, like a dropper post, like new grips, new pedals. What else have I bought for this? New saddle. And then coming soon, it'll be new bars and there's so many things I could upgrade, so many things that I want to upgrade. And then all of my cast offs will go to one of the kids, so they'll get upgrades. Trickle down economics. Anyway, I'm nearly at Rainbow. It's the first time I've been out this week. It's Friday today. The last time I was out was Saturday, and it was windy as hell. Here's a short film of that. Now then, if you look closely, you'll have seen that I cased a couple of jumps there. One at the top of the hill, the double there, the double at the bottom, and then pedaling into the wind to do the plank jump. That was an effort. I really had to try pull that to clean it. And as you can see from the landing, didn't go very well. Alright then, let's see if we can do some justice to Mike's jump line. Over there is the windsock. So we got the wind kind of oblique to us. It's gusty. Not very windy just now, then it gets windy. So let's give it a go. Right. Dropping in. See if I can get it. Oop, saddle down. I'm not going to get that. Not even in a million years. That's his new jump. I've just got mud in my mouth. That was alright actually. Let's see if we can get this. Yeah. Not bad. Right. Let's go jump the rock roll. Nope. Anyway, I guess we can now start looking at specific bikes that I would recommend for you to purchase.
Okay, welcome back YouTubers. Now let's find you a bike. There were 3 criteria for the bikes I was looking for. The first one is that they all had to have a dropper post. A dropper post is something that in mountain biking you absolutely need, and they're very expensive. So if the bike didn't come with a dropper post, it wasn't going to get a look in. The second thing that they all had to have was a 1x drivetrain. Again, in modern mountain biking, a 1x drivetrain is more or less essential. And thirdly, they all had to have through axles. That's a through axle on the fork and a through axle on the frame. That means that if you wanted to upgrade your fork or upgrade your wheels at any time, you could absolutely do that. So, with that in mind, I set to looking at what we call the big 3. That is the 3 biggest companies in mountain biking. And they would be Trek, Specialized and Giant. Now, Trek, as you know, I bought for the kids, so I trust in them. Specialized, my brother, who was into road racing back in the 80s, talked about Specialized all the time. They are one of the best companies in cycling, not just mountain biking, but in cycling full stop. And then there's Giant. Now Giant, I don't have much experience of, if I'm perfectly honest, but they are counted as one of the big 3 and they've been around for years, so therefore any offering by them has to be worth a look. So without further ado, or with further ado, let's have a look at the first offering. Now the first one is by Trek, and it's their Roscoe 6. It's reasonably priced and comes with reasonable components. The next on the list is by Specialized, which comes at an eye-watering 1,800 krona. However, it's a Specialized, so it's probably the best of the bunch, but my word, are you paying for that privilege. Next up, we have the Giant Fathom 1. Now, as I said before, I don't really know much about Giant, but if they paint their bikes this colour, I mean, come on, look at it. How can you say no to that colour? Also, all the other bits are pretty decent. Now, who have we got next? We have as much as GT from back in the day, BMXs. Their offering looks pretty run-of-the-mill, but GT are strong performers, always have been, so this bike is definitely worth considering. Next on the list is a bicycle or a company which I have personal long experience with, having owned one for 20 years. It's Cannondale, and this is their Cannondale Trail 3. Again, a decent bike, but Cannondale, again, they tend to be a little bit expensive. Now we're on to a company that I've not really heard of, I don't know much about, but they get very good reviews. They're a Spanish company called Orbea, and this bicycle is their, I hope I pronounce this correctly, their Laufey. Next, interesting one. This is the Marin San Quentin 2. Now the Marin San Quentin comes in 3 different varieties, 1, 2 and 3. 1 is the base model, 2 is the middle model, and 3 is the upper model. The base model, the San Quentin 1, I don't think it had a dropper post, and I don't think it had through axles, so I just discounted it. Actually, I don't think it came with a 1x drive system either. But the frame for the Marin San Quentin was designed in collaboration with Matt Jones, who is a Red Bull rider and is a rider of very, very great skill and some fairly good humour as well. Next on the list, we have one of the first direct-to-consumer brands that I have on the list. A direct-to-consumer brand is a company from whom you can only buy online. You can't go into a shop and therefore you save some money. However, the first on the list is Commensal. They are a French company out of the Pyrenees. They make some excellent equipment, and not just mountain biking either. But for that excellence, you pay a price. At 1,900 euros, this is by far the most expensive bike on the list. And I think, are we finally here? Finally, we have the last direct-to-consumer brand, Canyon. Now, Canyon have been around for a few years now. They've had some criticism. Those criticisms, though, they have taken on board and fixed. This bike is their Stoic 3, and I think represents about the best value for money. Now, I realise that most of these bicycles represent a serious investment. The cheapest one being 1,200 and some euros. That is a lot of money. But bicycles tend to be handmade. They are expensive bits of kit. Yes, you can buy bicycles which are much cheaper, but the experience that you will get from those bicycles will not be a positive one for very long. They're built to within certain tolerances and will give up the ghost fairly quickly. The bicycles which I've shown for you here are built to much more exacting tolerances and will serve you well, if properly maintained, will serve you well for a lifetime. My Cannondale I've had for 20 years, serviced it properly, never a problem with it. It still works as new. So there you go. Now then, of these bicycles here, I think my personal pick would probably be the Canyon. Basically because it has modern geometry, it's lightweight, it's uncluttered, and it does everything that a beginner bike should do. And for that price, it can't be beaten. I think the Canyon would be my choice. However, I can't get away from the colour on that Giant. That Giant was just the most beautiful colour I've ever seen, and colour plays a big part. If you're sitting on top of something which you don't like, it doesn't matter how well it performs, it's not going to work for you. There are, of course, other ways of getting into mountain biking. One you might already be considering is a second-hand bike, and a second-hand bike is a good choice if you make the right choice. Yes, you're going to save money. If you're not sure, go and ask a friend. Can you come and help me look for bikes? Or, I've seen this bike, is this bike worth buying? Will you come and look at it with me? You ask me, the answer is going to be a firm yes. I'll come and help you. So that's it. That's you're looking to a new bike for you. I hope this has helped. And always, one buy is one better.